วัสดีค่ะทุกคน Hello everyone, and today we welcome Anthony and Pijiri. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us today. And before we start, first of all, could you introduce yourself for us to know a little bit, please? Start with Anthony.
Thank you. No, my name is Anthony van Kemenade. I started the office at Century 21 about 8 years ago, and already almost, I think, 15 years in real estate business. Originally, I'm from Holland, so yeah, I'm Dutch. And me and my family moved to Belgium many years ago, could be 20, 30 years ago, and are in international real estate, also my family for many years. And this is why I wanted to join the Century 21 network, because it's also very global and it's nice to help people.
Wow, very well. He said thank you very much. And how about Pijiri?
Thank you for having me today. And Anthony is my supervisor. I'm graduated from the 3-year program of real estate broker from Antwerp in July, and then I start my internship with him since November 12th this year. So it's about 1.5 months, and yeah, mostly I assist the clients and under his guidance.
That's very interesting. So today we will talk about like the one who has a lot of experience in real estate, and Pijiri who's intern, but then as her brings experience from Thai perspective as well. So we will discuss about how Thais and foreigners can buy real estate or sell in Belgium. Okay, and may I ask, so today when we discuss, your answer will it be applicable only in Flanders or is in general in Europe, in Belgium?
Century 21 is worldwide in over 70 countries. However, we are only officially with our office active in Belgium and in the Flanders area.
Okay, so and okay, as we your main work now in Flanders, so how about your experience by are real estate rules different between regions in Belgium?
Big differences in registration fee. There are, yes, it's really big differences there are the areas of Flanders, but the Brussels is one area is completely separate, but then you also have the Wallonian, it's the French part of Belgium. Of course, then you have a little part of the German part of Belgium even. So it's complete different rules. I'm not specialized anymore in the Brussels or the Wallonian or the German part because so I'm not up to date what happens over there with the registration fees.
Okay, so today our answer, if you live in the other areas of Belgium, please check the information again. So today it will be for who live in Flanders. And let's start. So when people start to look for a home, the viewing stage is very important. And what should buyers check during the property viewing for both new or second-hand house? I'm not sure, like, are there any different? So could you please elaborate, Anthony, about during the property viewing, what the buyer should spot and check for a new property and for the second-hand properties?
Well, I think it's very important before people go actually for viewings that they should check out the area. Because Belgium has, and Flanders also has some areas that are very cheap. But like in Holland, we say, when it is nothing, it will never be something. You can buy something cheap, but cheap is not always good. If you buy a little bit more expensive, this will also increase the value also. It's a very secure investment also, very important for people. If it's close to schools, town centers, connections to motorways or big cities, where we are situated, we are close to the Dutch border. So this is also very good for people that you have, we have the airports very close. This is very important. Then for the property itself, this is something different where you should look at for any hidden flaws of the properties. Sometimes we don't find this so very often, but sometimes people hide some things, or don't tell things even, and this is this is very sad. You have to do a very thorough inspection, or rely on your realtor, of course, to inform you, because in Belgium, your realtor is also liable for certain things that you cannot know, because you're, of course, not a professional realtor, the client, a little bit protected also by the people where they buy. This is why in Belgium, the realtors have a certification which jury also has the complete education from. We are liable as a realtor for good information to our clients.
And so normally it's better to work with the realtor, and normally we can just rely on him or her.
They think it's cheap, but we don't have to pay the realtor, then it's better, because it's less money, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Only then comes the problem. The owner not tell them this, they not tell them that, and then they cry, of course.
And nowadays, is there any specific rules about, because there's a lot of things going on? I heard from my friend that for the how say she just bought a new house in Flanders, then she has to change the roof or the balcony within whatever next year. So could you tell us more about this kind of rules that the house or the prospect should spot and then take into consider for the cost that they have to really change something?
It is interesting because some homes have officially a bad energy sufficiency label. When it's starting with a label E, so then you should bring it back to a minimal level of a D within 5 years till this year. But for next year, this will change, that you can improve this for a label D within 6 years. These houses are, I think, very good price at the moment, because people are very scared from bad energy labels. However, because so many people are scared from this, I think it's sometimes very good to buy these, because with a minimum of investment, you can change this to a label D, and within 6 years. Well, 6 years is a very long time to make a little adjustment sometimes. So this is some things that people overlook. They want to look at the labels B or A even, and of course, because everybody the price go up for this. But with somebody, mostly professionals, we also assist the clients for if they need a new heating system or maybe some isolation here and there. Then with a little bit of investment, you can make a very, very good profit on this.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's a good trick as well. And how about specifically for the new property, what guarantees or legal protections exist for buyers of new properties or not? Are there any?
Yes, if the people buy a new property, there is the 10-year warranty by the architect.
And in which
protects them.
Pardon?
This protects the buyers from, of course, when you buy something new, you have, of course, when it is finished, you come and you look at the ceiling there and the floor, but you see nothing bad, so you sign that everything is good. But of course, in time, everything starts drying and then something can happen, because they build so much quicker than years ago. Something can happen. Then it is important that you have the 10-year warranty by the architect, which is also, these have a protection that they have a certain amount placed and secured, that if something should happen, that you can always fall back on them.
That's great. Thank you. And how about the document? Should the buyer always ask for any document or certificates before making an offer?
Yes. And this is also very important. Sometimes they don't ask. They are totally in love with property, and because they have the pink glasses, they don't think about what can happen. Then it is also important that we do our job good, that we can be honest for the people and sell them something that they know what is good. Or sometimes when it's something not good, then we have to say this to them. the buyers always have to have an energy sufficiency report. This is very important, and this is nowadays can be 60 pages. So this is very important. It also has very good recommendations of improving this label, so they can read a lot of what they can improve, or maybe some things are not important. The electricity inspection is also there. When you can buy a property without a valid report, but then some things have to be done, but you have to know what has to be done. Everything completely renewed, or maybe some electricity sockets. This can be small things also, but important to know. No, sometimes small things from asbestos are not a big problem. From the exhaust from the heating system, the pipe, this can be that there is a little shed. This is only something little to replace or take out. But when you have a complete roof of asbestos, or when you don't see it, when it is a normal roof, and what is the layer under the roof can be from asbestos, it can go up to 50,000-60,000 euros. That the cost is for replacing and renewing. And if you don't have a calculation for this, then this is a big problem.
And how about the area things, or the zoning or the flooding? Normally we have to check by ourselves, or the seller or agency will provide us, for example.
Yes,
somehow.
It's nowadays we are also obligated to report everything about the flooding risks. Website, of course. Only when you correctly stated, when people sell their house privately, when they do it without a realtor, then the buyer doesn't know, of course, because the owner or the private seller doesn't tell this to the buyers. And then later, then they can have the problems, because when it is in a flooded area, this doesn't mean that every year comes the water up, but then for the sell, this is of course the insurance cost is much higher when it is in this area. This is also some things that the people forget. Insurance fine is a lot higher. And let me see, insurance, but also when you want to make, like later you buy a house and you want to make a pool in the garden, swimming pool, this is sometimes not allowed. Or to make a basement, then you're not allowed to do this in these areas.
Oh, even basements. I thought it's only like for business thing.
No.
That's what you need to do. And how about picture, like during you study, learn, and then become intern, do you have any surprise about the process during the checking, or about the document that, oh, this one I didn't realize before, and it's a new knowledge for you, or surprisingly knowledge?
I learn new things every day from Anthony and also from other colleagues.
Yes.
That I didn't know before and didn't aware of, because in theory it's totally different from practice. So it is very essential for me to learn at this stage as much as possible. Sometimes I notice that I lack of some of knowledge, because there's no way for me to know if I don't jump into the practice, like joining Anthony's team and also having his advice every day on this and that. And thanks to him, I have a lot of opportunity to observe even photo shoots, aspects when they do some investigation, what to do with it, where to check, where to look, what will be the cost of renewing, what will be the obligation of the new owner. And these are the things that we do not know and the consumer wouldn't know. So back to your questions a while ago about why you should rely on realtor, especially the Belgian one, because we were regulated by law, because we know much more. We obliged by law to know. So yes.
Thank you very much. And so now we transition to the once the buyer understand, like, okay, what to check, and many people may ask whether they should afford, or no, sorry, whether they should use an agent or do everything by themselves. More or less you already answered me, but I would like to be more explicitly clear in which situation and in which point. For example, like, what are the main benefits of using an agent instead of selling privately by yourself?
I think also when you want to buy something, for the negotiations with the owner, this is our daily business. We do negotiations every day. And however, some people do buy a house once, twice, 3 times a year. This is our daily job. This is very important, I think, for negotiations and for protecting client and seller both. And of course, giving the advice how people could buy this and what is the best legal option for the registration fees, because registration fees is also a very big cost in Belgium. Sometimes people still have a property in different countries or cities, and then we can discuss what to do with this, if you want to keep it or sell it, and what should be the upside or the downside when you keep it. Sometimes when you have multiple properties on your name, then you could skip in the Flanders area of Belgium from 12%. If you sell them, you can buy it for 2% registration fee. So it's a 10% difference. It's quite a lot.
And so the properties is also include like lands, everything, apartment, house, condominium. Well, but then if they already sell, then they can get the discount rate, or they already like, okay, you used to have the property, no, you're not eligible for the discount rate.
You have to sell it within 2 years.
Ah.
So if you sell it within 2 years, you can choose if you want to pay the 12% now and get something back in the future, or just pay 2% now. And if you don't sell within 2 years, of course, then the registrations comes to the door. Give me the money.
I see. And is there any situation that is realistic that okay they can buy and sell by themselves, or you think it's still risky?
Well, a buyer doesn't have to pay a realtor in Belgium. This is the strange thing why they should do it without, because we get paid by the owners, by the sellers. So a buyer never pays in Belgium for a realtor. So for them, we give free advice. We never get paid by them, and we help them because we are the first ones to know if there's something coming on the market, or sometimes we have things that are not on the market. So don't pay, we cost nothing for them.
Mm-hmm. And what are the risks that when people try to do by themselves? What could be the risk?
Risks. Good question. Julie, maybe you have also something to add.
You mean for the buyers or for the sellers?
Both, because
For the sellers, the risk that they're not aware of the update of new laws and regulations. Yes, back to what Anthony just mentioned a while ago about renovation duration after purchase. Like from next year, it's going to be 6 years. But also, they need to know that if the energy efficient performance certificates lower than D, the new owner or the buyer need to renovate within 6 years. So this is a risk if the buyer doesn't know about this, doesn't aware, then he will miscalculate his budget and also confront with unforeseen problems, especially financial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
because
for the sellers also that when it comes to documents, the sellers is obliged by laws to provide the documents as is a kind of accessory to the goods that we sell. For example, when you buy a cell phone, you will have also headphone and other manuals within. So compare with selling a property is also the same. You need to provide all information required in order to sell your property to the buyer. So it's all transparent in Belgium.
Okay, thank you very much, Vijay. So yeah, it could be risk like regulation compliance mainly in different aspects. And as you could you explain the full step-by-step process of buying a property through an realtor, or who the buyers should contact or work with at each step? Maybe Anthony, please, could you explain the full step-by-step buying process and who buyers should contact or they will work with at each step?
Well, first people have to contact us, of course. That they give us the statistics, what is the budget or what they think is the budget, maybe. Because then also we can take them to some finance companies like banks or even different companies that we can help them give the best interest rates and the best conditions for their personally. It's not that we only visit people of viewings and open the door, this is the kitchen, this is the bathroom. So take people by the hand and we take what is your personal situation, you have personal income, you have a little bit of a saving money. With these things that we notice, then we can put them with the correct people who give them the best conditions for their possible loan if they need one. This is very important to start. We meet up in the office to see what is their personal needs. They need 6 bedrooms. They are alone, maybe they need 1 apartment with 1 bedroom. Then we start doing the viewings. And with the viewings, of course, all the necessary requirements. And then we start, if they have the good feeling, the heart with the property, then start with negotiations. And this is also very important. This has to be right from 2 sides. We cannot only kill the owner. We have to also be a little bit polite for the both parties, of course. And also we go, when the deal is closed, we have to make it with the right papers that the owner cannot sell for somebody else who give more money, maybe, that it would not be fair for the buyer. This is sometimes something when the deal is not correctly put on the paper, then the owner could say, well, yeah, it's nice, but we have somebody else, I will sell for them. And we say, no, you signed. If you do this, you have to give 10% for the lady or the man who buy it. So keep your word, because the word is not always a word anymore nowadays. You have to be very good. We say very good appointment, make the best friends. This is important. But when this is all done, we also take the buyer and the owner at the day of the notary. We go to the property itself to check the property, because some months go in between the period of the agreement and that you finally go to the notary. Then we go to the property to inspect before we sign at the notary, that you still see the buyer from, well, everything is still nice, in the good condition, like I saw it. And if this chair, this table, or the lamps should still be there, they are still there. Because when you are to the notary and you sign and you transfer the money, then it is very difficult to go back to the owner, like, no, you did not hold your part of the deal. Then it is difficult. So we think it's very important, and not everybody does this also, not all realtors do this. But we find it's very important to go with the owner and the buyer to the property. We also put the meters, like from the water, the gas, electricity, the name of the buyers. So this is not months later, still on the name of the previous owner. And then I just went with the client to the notary just half an hour ago. When it is sold, it's nice to go together to the notary, not only just to sit there at the table, but sometimes there are some agreements or some appointments made, like, every property is different. Like the lamps should still stay there, or this document is not like it should be, and then when the realtor is not there, it is very difficult for a notary who was never there to know what appointments there were made, only between price and property. And then we can say, no, please, everybody, don't remember, we put this and this on the paper, and we told this and this. And then people say, oh yeah, okay. And then we can continue it and give the hand.
Thank you very much for the details. And I wonder, how can we spot the realtor, the one that really work well, like you guys, that go through every step, as you said that, okay, some are not really help in which step. So how can, like, the first time buyer, or like who's searching for the realtor, how can they screen?
I think reviews are nowadays a very good level of seeing which one is very engaged for the client, or just only for the money and not for the client anymore. We have a 4.9 star review also. It ends at 5, so I think it's very good.
Yeah.
But this is a very good level. I also check this when I go to restaurants, what is good or what is not good. But it's also in realtor land. I check on the Google reviews a lot, and this will give a good view who is really with the heart or not.
Thank you. And if a Thai buyer see a property from like Century 21, what should they do? Can they contact you? Or do they need to contact you? Is it like based on because I'm not sure how you work only in a certain area or
We work in certain areas, but since we are all a very big family, we have friends and colleagues all over the country, or even over different countries, because my family personally also has some properties in, let's say, in Ireland and in Thailand even. We still have close contacts with several different countries also. And we can say, well, my dear colleague Keith from different country, we have the client who wants to buy something here, but who wants to sell something over there. Can we keep in touch contact personally so that the buyer has a close line between the countries?
Could you please more elaborate about the period? How long does it take each step or in total to finish from like viewing or discussing have the discussion with you about okay my desire for example until I got a house?
The standard period before you go looking, if you go looking on the market, I think this can be even in some weeks, but then you have to period between buying and the notary, you have a standard period of 4 months. However, of course, if you have your own property, this can feel like a little bit short because 4 months, 16 weeks. Then I have to sell my property and then pay the other. And then I need, if it's not sold, what happened then if I don't have the money? So there can be made different appointments that the period from 4 go to 6 months. And if your property is quicker sold, like from the buyer, who still has a house, this is sold quicker, then we can move forward to the notary also quicker. But then the buyer has some more oxygen. They have more time for their personal mind. Otherwise, they think, this is not nice for them, of course.
Too much pressure. So it's like okay, if someone looking to buy a property rather than rent, then okay, at least 6 months.
4 to 6 is the standards. But if they have money and it is sold, we can fix it within sometimes between around 6 weeks. This is also possible.
And about the money, how can the buyers know that they have enough fund? Enough money or enough they afford the loan? Are there any simulators? The program
there are simulators, but this is very personal, very individual also. Everybody say you always need 10% of your own money or 20% of your own money, but this is not always true. Sometimes we can, when the people have a property, but they don't have any money on the bank, we can still arrange for some banks to give 100% loan. But we have to look a little bit. How is the personal conditions? They have a good job. They have some personal property still in the name. This is really, how do we say, custom fit. This is individually. It's not one loan for everybody. We try to get the best loan with the best interest rates for the condition of the buyer.
I feel very surprised because I heard that okay, if you want to buy an apartment or house, at least you need like around 40,000 euro or 20,000 like minimum, depend on the price. This is new.
No, not always. Everybody thinks this, but it's not always necessary.
So yeah, the realtor will suggest the best way for the buyers. After we know about the step and how to contact, I wonder, can we come back for the document? Which document must be prepared by the different so what document must be prepared by buyer, seller, and agent? How can we know that? First of all, even though we use a realtor, and then how can we, as the buyer, we should supposed to check to ensure that okay it's worked properly. So just in case, can you tell us, okay, this document you should prepare by yourself, or it's the seller responsibility, so it's the agent responsibility?
Good question. When there is an agreement before you go to the notary, of course, there has to be a sales contract, but this takes a few weeks sometimes to prepare. For the time in between, before, older people like my father, they used to use something where they put the glass of beer on, the beer paper, to make a contract. It was on the little beer paper, and you put on my name, Anthony, will buy from Jury house for 200,000, sign date. But this is a little bit more difficult nowadays, and also not so very secure. So we have the official one-page paper with the necessary documents, with the details of the buyer, the legal documents that need to be provided for the buyer to know what he bought, that the soil, the ground, that it not has any pollution, or the energy sufficiency level, or that they know that there is or is not any asbestos in the house. What is the agreement about the time that the house will be delivered for them? Because if there is a special agreement that they have 8 or 10 months, then this should be well noted, because otherwise the owner could be angry for the buyer and ask them to come within 4 months. Only then the buyer has not sold the house yet, so they have problems. Yeah, this is not nice. So there's a lot of rules, good things to be put in the paper, that all people stay friends. And if there is a special appointment, of course, nowadays a lot, that the buyer has a certain period to finalize their bank things. Standard is about 5 weeks to make appointments with a few banks, which we can help with, of course, but it's also the buyer who has a little bit put effort in it to deliver all the documents about the income, of course, the personal funds. It's very important, because if they not get the loan, then they owe the 10% to the seller, of course. So we put this also in. If we know that the buyers need a loan, that they have this period, otherwise they get a 10% fine, and this is not nice, because we secure the buyers that if they not get the loan, they have to pay nothing, no fines, and otherwise they have a little bit of a problem.
So it's not necessary to talk with the bank before looking for the.
It is not important, because we help a lot, but it is important to a little bit know if you have good income, maybe a little bit savings. If I have €1,000 income, I have nothing on my bank, then I a little bit know that I not can buy a house of €500,000. This I know. But if I have a little bit good income, I did a little bit saving, then I would go to the realtor and let him assist me also with some banks, because I know many bank people, and one bank at the moment is very difficult and not give good loans, not good interest. So then I know different bank who give good interest, quick decision. Yeah, he is very happy with new clients.
Can you give me a bit of, how to say, picture about, like, okay, if someone like renting and pay rent around €1,000, 1,200, and they think, okay, they would like to buy an apartment, like no need to be fancy, maybe like 150,000. Is it possible? What are the income or saving they should have, like, in case, because some people get so scared to buy because they thought that they cannot afford. Do you have any example that, okay, maybe if you start to have this income together per month, you could start to talk with a realtor to evaluate your situation, whether you can afford to buy?
Good question. This is very difficult. Yeah, also it depends if you have a little bit of personal money also. If you can pay your notary costs at least, or if you have a 10% deposito, then your interest go a little bit down. important. But for, like you say, 150,000 euro apartment, what should you have nowadays? Yeah, this is, I think, what, 4,500. Let me make a little
Sorry
calculation.
for the spontaneous questions.
Yuri, do you have something about this?
Pardon?
Normally, if you need lending from the bank, you need to consult with how the bank will provide some help to you. Because when start with the lending process, they need to see how much money you need in order to finance your property. So it depends. Some bank would give you not 100% lending. Some bank will give you like 80 or even less. It depends on just what Anthony just mentioned a while ago about the income that he or she has already, the saving that she or he already has, and also future income that we could expect.
Yeah.
Not only the job that she has, also like something, if this person, for example, have another place and rent it, we have some another income into this budget. So to answer this is it's quite tailored, I would say. It's not, we cannot give one answer to all people, but yes, Anthony.
Well, I did a quick calculation, little bit. It does also, of course, depend on how many years. This is also something, but it is also interesting. If you want to do it, some people have, very good budget, so they want to have a short loan, then they can maybe do it in 15 years. But, well, if you say, well, it's very good now, I take my time, I can do 20, 25 years maybe, then, of course, the monthly cost is a lot lower. The interest now at the moment is between 3.2 and 3.5%. But my colleague in the office, by the way, she got a very good interest of, like, say, 2.9. So it's very important that we help the client, of course, because it can be 1% the difference. So in 20 years or 25 years, this is a huge difference.
Yeah.
You can buy a very nice car with this money. But like, say, if you say about apartments for 150,000, I would say, depending if you have an own budget that you can put in first, it's between, like, say, 700 and 900 euros a month to pay back. Depending if it's 20 or 25 years, and you have a little piece of money that you put in yourself first, or not.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And you talk about the notary that, okay, maybe even though like we can get 100% loan, whatever, at least we should have some saving or some initial money to pay different costs. Could you estimate around like, okay, what should it be?
Well, sometimes some banks also do the cost also for the notary even in it. But the notary cost for an apartment like from 150,000 euros, I would say no more than 5,000 euros.
So it's not that expensive as
No, I think it's good to have a little bit of own money in it also, because otherwise a bit in the problems.
Yeah, but also it's good because like some people are too scared, but maybe they already have enough, but they thought that it's not enough. So it's good to let them know, okay, now it's time to start to go to talk with a realtor. Yeah.
And they have a good contract, maybe some people. They have a solid contract, a steady contract for the work. And if they are with two, then you are also a very good client when you are with two people working. The rental cost goes up so high at the moment. I don't know from all areas in Belgium, but here in this area, where we are close to the border, a two-bedroom apartment, it can go up easily between 800 and 1,000 euros easily or more. And like you say, 150,000 euro apartment, if you can pay this between 700 and 900 euros a month to the bank, then you would be foolish not to buy.
Yeah. That's a very good price. I remember I used to live in Brazil, a studio, I paid 800 euros. And okay, when we talk, as you told us about if there are two saris, so it means they buy together as a spouse. Here come with the popular question from Thai in terms of ownership and family situation. If someone is already married or do the legal cohabitation, can they buy a property in their own name only?
Yes. Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, if you are then, but of course you have to make this a special. It depends on your contract, your marriage contract, I think. I'm not married. Hello, viewers. No. I'm not
Promotion period.
I'm not married yet. No, it depends, of course, on the marriage contract. If everything that you buy after your contract is noted that this will come in the pot or not. This is depending on your marriage contract. But I think Jerry is married.
I am.
This is maybe your expertise better.
Sure. It depends on your marriage contract, exactly as what Anthony just mentioned. And in general, let's say a lot of people signing marriage certificate without any contract, which means they have three part of assets. One person, and another one is from another partner, and you have the middle one that you share. So to come back to your question, whether I could buy a property on my name alone, yes, you can, if you can prove that the capital that you use to buy this property come from your side. For example, I inherit a house in Thailand and I sell it. And I can prove that this money comes from selling a house with my parents, and I use this money to buy a property for my name only. It's possible.
Yes. So when you say come from your
when
you say come from your side, it means that it's not the income during the marriage, because the income during the marriage is mean together. So it has to be heritage is your own, even though after the marriage.
And you have to prove these, the flow of your capital, where it's come from. And then you have to give the legitimate, document that I have earned this money from, not the share capital with the share asset with your partner. And also, if you married with, a separate asset, in Belgium, in Flanders, having from it means you separate your asset totally different. So you have different pockets between wife and husband. So it doesn't matter whether you buy or sell, you can do it on your own. But sorry, I'm correct what I'm saying. When you buy, you can do it on your own. But when you sell, if the house that you use for your family, you still need the permission of your partner in order to sell even your own property, but you use as a family, to live together. Then you can sell it. But the money when you gain from selling is come to your pocket, not to another person.
Okay, that's also good to know, because I always think that's separate and everything is my own name. I can sell whenever. Okay, so it has to be careful.
If it's under your name already, it's not shared. You can have also shared capital if even we have sharing my but this is too much details. Let's not go to that.
So we have to contact the notary to be safe. If you would like to buy and sell, it has to be clearly stated with the notary. And how about another common question is about affordability. We already talked about that, like how can they know how much they can afford to buy an apartment or a house? And are there any program or website that they can do the simulations?
Actually, there's one from the notaries.be, and you can look for a simulator, but it's not exact figures, and you need to do some buffer in order to save yourself from miscalculating, because no one will give you the exact figures. There will be some other costs that change every some certain time. For example, previously the notary doesn't charge VAT, but now they do. And also, like I heard from the when you go to the doctor, and like you have to fix your teeth, they can also charge it with VAT. Previously, not. So you need to catch up with this up-to-date change in laws and regulation. Yes.
Thank you very much, Victoria.
Welcome.
And here come with the Anthony. Could you tell us about the tax, please? The different tax between new and second-hand properties or different type of properties? Taxes.
Well, you have for new properties, you can be also charged with the VAT. VAT standardly is 21%, but under some circumstances, you can also have a project with 6% VAT. So this is also a big difference. It depends on some things. If there was something on the land before, they sometimes can rebuild some properties and they can build new. Then they have special regulations of 6%. So this is very interesting for buyers for new properties. If it is a few years old only, then they can, depending on, there's a lot of regulations, but they can also sometimes buy it for 2% registration fee. So this is always more interesting, of course, 2% registration fee than 6% VAT. But this is very technical also. This is something that I think people could best walk in or call in for these things. But Jury, maybe you have a simple explanation for this?
Yes. For example, when you have second-hand houses, you can get special discount from the government if it is the first and only home you have, and you pay this year from January this year 2% instead of 3%. But if you want to buy another one, for example, apartment by the seaside, you will have to pay 12%. Okay, but if that apartment is new, so it's 21%.
Okay.
But you need
So
to have
second-hand
the
cheaper.
option in your budget. Yes.
And when we say when we say second-hand, how old it has to be, or it doesn't matter?
Second-hand means for the newly built is after your first the first time you move in. It starts that the first day until the 2 years after the 31st of December of the second year after. So it's 2 years after.
2 years. 2 calendar years.
It's categorized as a new, but afterwards it's not new anymore. So it doesn't fall into 21% or 6%, but it falls into 2% or 12%. So you see the difference?
Yeah. So if you're looking for like 3 years house, then voila, you get reduced rate.
No, not always.
No? Okay.
If people not register themselves in a new apartment, nobody registers there. After 20 years, this can still be like new. So you're still on the VAT. So if after 10 years people put themselves in the address there only, then could still be new. So there are many tricks to be discovered there.
This is the reason why you should always contact the regular realtors in Belgium. We are available to you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And what are the common mistakes that first-time buyer usually make?
I found this very, very good question.
Who would like to answer, or both of you? Yeah.
Well, what people do make a big mistake is that they don't know nothing if they can buy something or not. I think this is a very big mistake. I always say, I don't go to the furniture shop if I don't know how big my table can be. First, I make the measurement in the home, how big my table can be before I go to the furniture shop. Of course, we also make the measurements for your table, but I think it's first important that the people come to us with their situation before we go viewing some houses or properties. then we can look at houses. But if they don't know if they can buy, it's no problem that we help them first make the check what they can buy. Because first we can look at 20 houses, and then we find out that they cannot buy this, but they have to buy something a little bit cheaper, or they have a little bit more budget even, can also be. I think it is very important to go first checking what we can buy, and then we check what we have in store for them to help them, of course, with us or with the different Century 21 agencies in Belgium. It's like 160 offices only in Belgium. So there might be something with what we can help them with. But I think it's very important first to check what you can buy before going for viewings.
And Pishuri, do you have any extra thing
Okay,
about common
I
mistakes?
think Anthony already mentioned about that they also need to take into account about the cost that they will have to pay. He also mentions about the notary costs and the registration duties and things like this that they should not overlook, not just the price of the property they want to buy it. And they need to check their own budget. They need to check the cost and they need to pay firsthand when they buy it, because these ones, they can get away with it. And then your ability to finance over the years when they have the lending from the bank.
And what should people never skip when buying a property?
I think the area and the connections and the schools, the house can be very nice, but the area is very important also. If they have the feeling with the house or apartment, but they don't know, people come from different countries, they think it's a nice house, but it's completely in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes people don't have a driver license, or the husband have driver license. It's still a lot that the lady doesn't have a driver license, but with the children, how they get to the school, this is very important also. Not only the house, otherwise you're completely isolated in your house. Yeah.
I agree, because it's difficult. It cannot be changed. The house you can improve, but the area you cannot.
You need to get food and drinks, and go to kids go to school and things like that. We go see doctors, and these are things we need in our daily life. So we need to check this facility whether it's accessible within the area we live in.
And if someone would like to contact you to use your service, how can they contact you, and what kind of information they should prepare in order to discuss with you or maybe the 21st century 21 Asian?
Well, I think if they contact us, it's the most easy way is always our common email address, and then we can contact the people with their phone number, WhatsApp, maybe, because it's sometimes international, and we use for the most easy, I think it's info@ecovastgoed.be, and then we know this area, or we forward to Jury. Jury has also a very easy email, jury@ecovastgoed.be, or also welcome with me, Anthony@ecovastgoed.be. What they should prepare a little bit roughly. However, if they contact us, we will ask them personally but if they know a little bit about some income pay slips, what they every month earn, and what they have in their personal account, or maybe they have something from family that can be coming, and what they have for personal, maybe they have a property in Belgium or in different country, and how much if they have any bank loans on this, and how much is open on this still. This is something that is very interesting for us. Then we know a little bit what to work with.
And Peter, do you have any? If you would like to say anything, you can spontaneously.
Say. I think Anthony already mentioned a lot that anyone want to buy property needs to check his own situations and give up a little bit of this situation so we can evaluate and see how we could help in order to achieve the goal of buying property.
And by the way, I forget and I skip one question. So as most of our viewers are foreigners, especially from Thailand, can non-Belgian citizens buy property in Belgium?
Yes, they can. Yeah,
Okay.
that is no problem.
Mhm. As because in Thailand, foreigner cannot hold the land. They can only buy condominium. That's why this come with. And are there any restriction that they have to be careful if they still holding the Thai nationalities and they want to buy a property in Belgium?
No, only of course what we need to know, we don't necessarily need, but the notary needs to know where the funds come from. And this is something that everybody needs to know a little bit. It's a little bit, yeah, it has two feelings, of course. We or the notary needs to know a little bit from what where the money come from. It come from inheritance or that you sell different property before. This is in order about the money laundering.
Mhm.
With the terrorist threats, if you get the money from the sale of guns or for funding the wars.
Yeah.
This is something that we have to ask from the government also.
I understand. And that's a following up questions. If someone already have savings from Thailand before they move here, and want to buy property here, are there extra legal procedure or banking checks like when they want to move the saving from Thailand to buy property in Belgium, or what kind of thing they have to, who they should contact or prepare the document? Or they can just say that that's my saving.
Well, they have a little bit of proof. They have to send, of course, from your bank that you get a little bit proof from this is my bank account, like in Thailand, my number, and this is the proof from my mother died recently. This is the proof of her passing, and you need a little bit of proof that you're not get it from illegal purposes.
The source of income. Thank you very much. And he has come to the last section that I would like to ask you the last final advice for the foreigners living in Belgium who want to buy or sell property.
Well, it is a completely different world here, I think also. So it's not bad to check a little bit on websites, but it's completely different. Like Holland, where I'm from the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, you have one website only. It's very easy to check. I don't know how it is in Thailand, but in Belgium, they have so many different websites. And some realtors don't post things on this website, but they do post it on this. So I think it is best to not just look for yourself, but get professional help, because otherwise it's like a forest where you walk into. And like I said, the buyer doesn't pay a realtor here in Belgium. In different countries, it's also different. Like in Holland, a buyer pays also the realtor. For helping them, they have to pay them also a percent. But in Belgium, it's the seller who pays us. So yeah, we are very we should be very efficient to help also the buyer. And because we are in difference to different countries, like in Spain or Holland, the realtor is not very reliable. So if you buy something bad, this is your own problem. In Belgium, the realtor is very well liable also if we sell something bad to a buyer. Of course, we never lived in a house ourselves. Yeah, we do live, but not in the houses that we sell. So we don't know how quickly the oven turns to 200 degrees, or if the fridge makes very good quality or not. These things we don't know. But for some very important government things, we are very liable. So then I think for this, it should be very important to always work with the realtor. Maybe it is interesting for me to share also some websites.
Yes.
I don't know if you're seeing this now.
Yeah, we saw the browser, your browser.
And now you see the website from Thailand.
Yes.
So there you see that is also the website for Century 21 Thailand. so we also work together with Century 21 Thailand. This is very interesting for maybe people who want to sell their property over there. And private
So they
websites.
contact them, sorry. They contact you or they contact them directly, or how do
think
you
it's,
coordinate?
I think it's best to contact us directly because we are then in contact with them, and the jury can make the connection between the two agencies of the certain region in Thailand, because it's also not one for the complete country. And yeah, we have our own website in Dutch, but of course also in English. This is now in Dutch, by the way, but we have from cozy apartments to a renovation villa or non-reservation renovation villas, nice townhouses. If people want to make a combination for living and working, this is also sometimes interesting. I think we have for everybody in a big area something, but this is always different.
Thank you very
I don't know
much.
how to cancel this now anymore.
Pardon?
Cancel the sharing anymore. Yes, here. Sorry.
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. Oh, I didn't realize it's like a real in Thailand that we have the century.
Yes.
I heard, but with the website things. Okay, and thank you very much, Anthony. What is that?
This is our annual reward. We don't get it just because we are a member. We get it because we are with the top selling agents in Belgium from Century 21.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know if the camera follows me now. I think it should a little bit.
They should.
Yes.
Now,
It takes time. Oh wow, there's a lot.
back there should go something by this stuff.
Maybe that's the age.
We
But
have a
yeah, we
complete
can see a
wall.
few.
We have a complete wall with these things. We get one every year because we do quite a good job.
Yeah, during interview, you already see like, okay, you really help the clients through like since the beginning to the end, and then based on their needs. That's really nice because yes, it's not every agent that really take care of clients, so we have to be careful as well. And for the last final advice, Pichuri, do you have any final advice for the foreigner Thai buyers?
I think that's my advice to everyone who want to make decisions about real estate. It's not just a transaction, it's a long-term decision. So make a good use.
Or if you want to maybe put in a Thai word, because now we talk constantly in English, but maybe you can also give a little bit of Thai review.
Oh yeah, good.
ได้ค่ะ
Thanks.
การซื้อขายบ้านเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่เป็นการตัดสินใจระยะสั้นแต่เป็นการตัดสินใจระยะที่ยาวมันจะต้องใช้ข้อมูลหลายๆอย่างในการประกอบเพื่อการตัดสินใจอย่างถูกต้องเพราะฉะนั้นการขอคำปรึกษาจากโบรกเกอร์ที่ถูกต้องตามกฎหมายอย่างเช่นพวกเราเนี่ยเป็นเรื่องที่จำเป็นและเป็นเรื่องของการปกป้องสิทธิและผลประโยชน์ของผู้ที่ซื้อและขายอสังหาริมทรัพย์ค่ะ
Thank you very much. ขอบคุณค่ะพี่จุรี And today, thank you very much for sharing such a clear and practical information ค่ะ And I'm sure that this will be extremely useful and helpful for Thai people and foreigners who are living in Belgium and planning to buy the property. And so, thank you again for your time, and thank you everyone for watching.
And thank you for having us. It's really wonderful, and I'm so glad to get your invitation at first, and so glad that my supervisor can make time for this as well. Really
yeah. Thank you that you just share information with us. วันนี้ลาไปก่อนค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ
Sorry, Count.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.